Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Harold Wilkins.
Number 2.
My name is Harold Wilkins.
Number 3.
My name is Harold Wilkins.
Only one of these people is the real Harold Wilkins and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur Orson Bean. Actress and cartoon voice Dana Hill. Film and television producer David Niven Jr. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Charlie O. I learned that little trick, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, from Orson, watching him as he comes out. Good morning, panel.
Good morning.
Kitty, I hope you got a close look at these three gentlemen.
Well,
You've got a date with one of them this evening, you know.
I was looking with my glasses, too.
All right, well, let me read the affidavit so you'll know something about your date. I, Harold Wilkins, am a game show addict. I got hooked on game shows way back in 1980. When I'm not looking at game shows, I'm taping them. There is no known cure for my disease. Recently, at a charity auction, a game show package came up for bid. I kept upping the ante. Higher and higher I bid until I was the winner. The package included a Hollywood holiday for two, hotel, and a whirlwind of activity. First, I attended a taping of The Price is Right, and then a dream came true. I met Bob Barker and Barker's Beauties. Then I had cocktails at the Beverly Hills Hotel with Mr. Mark Goodson. Next, lunch at an Italian restaurant with Marjorie, the model on Classic Concentration, and her dog, Pokey. Then it was a thrill to meet Alex Trebek at Jeopardy! At a reception, I also met Carol Burnett and Tom Selleck. But tonight is the capper. I'm having dinner at Spago's with Miss Kitty Carlisle. What a life! Signed, Harold Wilkins. Harold Wilkins is my kind of man. We'll find out more about this game show addict right after this break. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, and panelists. These three men all claim to be Harold Wilkins, who has a blind date with Kitty Carlisle tonight. And Kitty, you can start the questioning.
Well, I don't care who you are. I'm delighted.
You don't?
No, whichever one it is, you look pretty good to me. And I think I'm very lucky. Number one, what is your business that you could afford this kind of frivolity?
Well, I'm an outside salesman for medical equipment, so I have pretty well my own hours and do what I like.
And number two, you make enough money to afford this kind of foolishness?
I'm a retired school teacher,
Oh, my goodness.
but it's from an inheritance.
I see. And number three, what kind of a charity did the money go to?
It was multiple sclerosis.
Oh, that's very good. We'll have a good time, whoever you are.
David? And that isn't the first time Kitty has said that, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Well,
What a
I would
nasty
just like to
comment,
say
I'm sorry.
I am a jealous wreck because Kitty has never had dinner with me alone.
That's the truth.
Yes, Kitty. Anyway, number one.
But you refuse to pick up the tab.
No, she's richer than I am.
That explains it.
All right, number one. How did you get hooked just watching game shows?
Well, I had an injury back in 1980 and I lost part of a finger, and I was in the hospital 4 times that year for various operations. And it so happens that most of the people that I was in the hospital room with were game show addicts, and they were watching it, and that's all I got to watch while I was in the hospital.
Thank you. Number two, you're taping game shows that you're not watching. How do you find all this time to watch all these shows?
There's not much else I do except watch shows.
Number three, are you planning on kissing, just between you and me, giving a good kiss after dinner?
Oh, stop.
Well, just between you and me, I hope so.
And on that happy note, let's go to Dana.
Number one, how many celebrities are there in Match Game?
On Match Game, there's 6.
Okay, and number two, who's the new host of Match Game now that Gene Rayburn has retired?
I do not know.
Okay, and number three, Bob Barker's a very strong activist. In what cause?
The environment.
Okay, and
Orson?
Yeah, now, number one, I hope you're not paying, because Kitty, while she's svelte and beautiful, has an enormous appetite. Are you paying for dinner at Sparkles?
No.
That's part of the
Part of
deal.
the package.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Number 2. Now, when you had lunch with Marjorie the model, at the, did she point at the food? Or... Well, I don't know.
No.
She didn't. She was charming as she is on the show, right?
Yes. And
Number 3. What's the best thing? I know you was Cocktails with Mark Goodson the high point, or Marjorie the model, or what?
I would have to say that Cocktails with Mr. Goodson was the high point of it.
What?
All right, time's up. This is a wonderfully entertaining story, and it's going to continue, obviously, later on today. But now our panelists have to vote for the game show addict. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or is it number 3? The team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000, and if our panel is fooled completely, the team will receive $3,000. Kitty, did you vote for the person you wanted to go out with?
No, I voted for the one that I think is the real one, so no one should feel offended. But number 1 said he lost a finger, and he's been covering his right hand with his left hand, and I haven't seen whether the other folks, they have all their fingers. So I voted for number 1.
Because he may or may not be missing part of a finger. Kitty voted for number 1. David.
Well, I voted for number 3 because he has that sort of naughty twinkle in his eye of anticipation and excitement of this hot date.
All righty.
That's
That's pretty good. Can I chaperone this date tonight? No.
You just want a free meal, Dana.
That's right.
Admit it.
It's Fargo. Are you kidding? Bob Barker, this was probably a stupid question. He's very strong in animal rights. And I think that that's something you would know if you're a regular Price is Right watcher. And I thought you would know the new host of Match Game, which I don't know who it is off the top of my head. Sorry. So I went with number 1.
Okay, Orson?
I didn't vote for number 1 because the fact that he lost a finger only proves he's careless. It doesn't mean that the real guy lost a finger. He lost a finger. I didn't vote for number 3 because the real one is sworn to tell the truth, and he said that he would rather go out with Mark Goodson than Marjorie the model. I voted for number 2. He looks rich.
You figure if he wants to go out with Mark rather than Marjorie, he's got a problem. Okay, let's review the voting. We have 2 votes that came in for challenger number 1, 1 vote for number 2, and 1 vote for number 3. It is time now to find out who really likes to play games and watch television game shows. Will the real Harold Wilkins please stand up? It is number 2. Harold, you've got this great date coming up this evening with Kitty. 2 important questions for you. Will it just be the 2 of you?
No, it will not. My wife will be with us.
I see. And second question, who's going to pick up the tab?
Mark Goodson Productions.
Mark Goodson Productions is picking up the tab. Well, how nice. Let's find out about our imposters. Number 1, you got 2 votes. Who are you, sir?
I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I did lose part of a finger, and my real name is Bob Barker.
Have you met the other Bob Barkers? You have indeed.
Yes.
All right, well, let's find out who number 3 is. He got 1 vote. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm an outside salesman for the Ameritone Paint Corporation, and my real name is Mark Goodson.
Wait a minute. I'm hearing echoes. You are Mark Goodson. And when you arrived at our studio today, something fascinating happened, I understand. The guards let you into the executive parking lot and gave you VIP treatment. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Have you met the other Mark Goodson?
No, I have not.
Oh, well then, let me solve that problem for you. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to introduce our boss, the man who is responsible for more successful television game and quiz shows than anyone else in the history of the business, and the designated host for me on this program whenever my wife Jean and I have a baby, Mr. Mark Goodson.
Thank you.
Mark, say hello to Mark.
Very nice.
I've never met anybody named Mark Goodson before, and you took my parking space. I'm out in Burbank somewhere. So as soon as possible, you change. And by the way, just to let you know who you are, I'm giving you a Mark Goodson production hat so you can wear. I had cocktails with Mr. Wilkins, a charming man. You're going to enjoy yourself, Kitty, and you're going to have dinner with one of the most beautiful and charming women in America. My pleasure.
votes at $500 apiece. That means the team receives $1,500, and we thank you all for being with us on To Tell the Truth. And now, since all of this dealt with having a date, here's a chance for you out there to have a date with your favorite soap opera star. We're going to be dealing with that in a couple of weeks right here on To Tell the Truth. We're going to take a commercial break right now, and when we return, we'll have a man who ran with a gang. That's it, he ran with a gang, but then he decided to turn his life around. That fascinating story after these commercials.
And I've got one question. At the end of the show, when you're next to him, you always give a kiss. Is that for a specific person?
Thank you for staying with us. Let's meet our next group of challengers.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Eddie Benales.
Number two.
My name is Eddie Benales.
Number three.
My name is Eddie Benales.
Here's the affidavit, panelists. I, Eddie Benales, was in a street gang for 8 years. I sold drugs and lived on the wrong side of the law. I got arrested for the first time when I was 12 years old. By the time I was in high school, I was married and the father of a child. But I spent most of my time with my gang, my homeboys. I was always in trouble with the law and spent most of my teenage years on probation. But when my wife became pregnant for the second time, I turned to my faith for guidance and rededicated my life to my family. I gave up my life with the gang. Now I give dramatizations about gangs to young students in the barrio. My acting troupe demonstrates how joining gangs can lead to crime, to jail, misery, and often to death. I wrote about the great change in my life in a book called From Gangs to Grace. Signed, Eddie Benales. All right, Orson, we'll start the questioning with you.
Oh, thanks. So, home number three, you chose God over the gang. Now, did you have a spiritual experience that made this profound change come over you?
I had these problems in my life, and I thought it was the only way out, faith and hope.
Number one, have you been happier since you made this decision?
Yes, I've been a lot happier because I'm helping, kids, to get out of gangs and with the community. It's
Number two, did you have trouble leaving the gang? Do they make trouble for someone who tries to leave?
In my case, no.
No trouble?
No.
All right, let's go to Dana.
Number one, what gang did you belong to?
I belong to the Homeboys.
Okay, number two, what is tie stick?
A drug that you smoke.
Okay, number three, what is crystal meth?
It's an hallucinating drug.
Okay, and number one, how much did you sell a gram of cocaine for when you were dealing?
Dana, it sounds as if you're shopping.
I'm pursuing a particular line of questioning
Yes,
here.
all right. And the bell. David.
All right, try to help you out a little bit.
Thank you.
Number one, what was the most profitable drug that you used to sell?
Cocaine.
Okay. And number two, why were you put in jail, or rather arrested at the age of 12?
I was a suspect in a wine bottle at a police car incident.
And were you innocent or guilty?
I was innocent.
Okay. Number three, when it says you turn to your faith is what exactly?
Well, I'm Catholic, and my faith belongs to God now.
Belongs to God now?
Kitty.
Okay.
Gosh, you didn't have very good judgment, number one, in your ordinary life, but you had good judgment about women. Are you still married to the same lady?
Yes, I am.
Well, you sure had good judgment about her. Number two, did she stick with you through all of it? Did she help you to find God?
Yes, she helped me. She was an inspiration.
Number three, how many children do you have now?
I have 2 kids now.
And number two...
Time's
Well, I
up,
should have
panel.
asked about-
Time for you to vote for the person you feel was the gang member who found God and turned his life around. Is it number one? Is it number two? Or is it number three? Orson.
I don't know. They're all good. I voted for number one. Number two said he was innocent. Well, they all are. We all are, except for you. I voted for number one.
Okay, Dana?
I also voted for number one, although I don't know why, since I didn't get to ask any questions. So I went with number one.
David?
Well, I went for number one as well, and I did get to ask him questions, and I like the way he answered them better than the other two.
All righty. Kitty?
Well, I voted for number 2 on something that I know nothing about, but he seemed to know what that drug was that you asked him about, so I voted for number 2.
All right, let's review the votes then. We have 3 votes for number 1, 1 vote for number 2, and no votes for number 3. So let's find out who was really a gang member in his youth. Will the real Eddie Benales please stand up? It is number 2. Kitty is right again. Eddie, was there any kind of an initiation process? One of the fears we have in Los Angeles, of course, with our gangs is that as part of the initiation process, they have to go out and deliberately injure or perhaps kill someone. What was the initiation process in the Homeboys?
For the most part, that was something number 1 said, the Homeboys. My gang was a different street name, but I lived and grew up. My father also was a former gang member, so I had a heritage that I really didn't initiate myself, get initiated.
Let's meet the imposters. Number 1, you got 3 votes. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Edison Ortega, and I'm an assistant editor at the Academy of Motion Pictures.
Hey, how about that, Edison? Number 3, who are you, sir?
My name is Jaime Torres, and I'm a restaurant manager for Johnny Rockets Dino.
Well, restaurant manager. 3 incorrect votes, gentlemen, at $500 apiece. That means the team will receive $1,500. And we thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. Back to play one-on-one right after this. All right, it's time now to play one-on-one with somebody from our studio audience. Charlie O, it looks as if you found a lovely lady. Who is it?
Alex, this lovely lady is Sandra Desjardins from Pasadena, California.
Hello, Sandra, and welcome to our program. Here's a chance for you, Sandra, to make $500 in cash.
Sounds good.
Pay close attention as we introduce this gentleman who has 2 stories to tell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Whalen. Sandra, Mark is going to tell us 2 stories, only one of which happens to be the truth. You spot the true story, and you'll get $500. Mark, tell us your first story, please.
I am a phrenologist. I can read the bumps on your head.
I've got a lot of bumps for you if that is the truth. It may not be the truth, Sandra, as you know, and so we had better listen to story number 2. Mark.
I run a traffic school for the rich and famous. My motto is, if you have to go to traffic school, go first class.
Sandra, our panelists will help you. Each one will be allowed 1 question on each story. Let's start with the bumps on the head. Kitty.
So what is the etymology of the word phrenologist?
It's from Latin, and it does mean the study of bumps on your head.
David?
Now, how difficult is it to read someone who has a head full of hair?
Like you, David.
Well, more hair than I have.
The hair doesn't come into the way. I can feel the bumps whether there's hair or not.
Oh.
Dana?
Number 3, what can you tell? I'm number 3. I'm sorry, I'm thinking the other way. What can you tell by reading somebody's bumps on their heads? What's kind of
Personality characteristics, intelligence, aggression, traits of their personality.
Orson?
Really? You could feel Niven's bumps and tell if he fools around with women?
Well, I can tell if he has propensity to.
I can
Good
tell you
response.
that.
All right, so much for story number 1. Let's get to story number 2, the fact that Mark operates a traffic school for the rich and famous. Kitty.
Well, what does it mean, go first class? What do you do for them that's special?
Well, to help them get to school on time, I offer valet parking.
David?
What do you charge these rich, spoiled little brats?
$100?
Okay.
I'm not sure I like the characterization. Rich, spoiled brats. Dana?
Who teaches these classes for you?
I do.
You do.
Orson?
Do women ever deliberately get tickets so they can go to your school and find a rich husband who drives badly?
Not that I know of yet.
Not that you know of.
All right, so much for our cross-examination. You've heard it all, Sandra. You have to tell us now if you're going to win the money. What does Mark do? Is he the man who reads bumps on our head, or does he run the traffic school for the rich and famous?
I'm going to say that he reads bumps on our heads.
Looks like a phrenologist to you, huh, Sandra?
Does that, for sure.
Mark Whalen, what's your true story?
To tell the truth, Alex, I run a traffic school for the rich and famous.
Oh, bad news for you, Sandra. You were fooled by Mark, and that means you'll have to settle for a parting gift that we have for you backstage. Thank you for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. Mark, a good question was asked. Why do they come to you rather than go to a regular traffic school?
Mainly, Alex, for the seating. We have very comfortable seating. We're talking about being in a room for nearly 8 hours, sitting in one place.
Let's take a look at a picture you brought with you today and tell us what we have here. Executive Traffic School, Grande Class. A wonderful experience, not a tedious ordeal. You feel you have to hold their hands to get them through this experience?
No, not hold their hands.
No? Not even figuratively?
Well, I need to hold their hands to explain how dangerous the traffic is out here in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, it was great having you with us today. And some of us may be in your class before too long.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
All righty, we'll be back with more right after this. Well, Kitty's all set for her big date tonight, and in a couple of weeks, as you know, on To Tell the Truth, we'll give you a chance to win a date with your favorite soap opera star. So keep watching. So long, everybody, for today.
This is Charlie O'Donnell speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson television production.
I'm the master reptile.